Hello, Pisces. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, Pisces, welcome. So today we are starting with the Magician energy. I always mix this one up with the Fool. I don't know. Mercury looks like the Fool to me in this particular iteration, or this manifestation, this interpretation of Hermes, Mercury. But we do. It's not the Fool. It is the Magician. And I think it's the look on his face. I think that's what it is for me. But we have a sense of being a world builder. That's what the Magician really exemplifies for me, is this idea of the architect, right? Of the grandmaster, of one who has maybe not completed the magnum opus, which is the great work or works. It's actually works. Your series of life works, right? Not the one thing that you're writing or dreaming of or creating and building, the totality of the work you have done. And the Magician is one that understands so many of the variables, the patterns, you really have to become so learned in a variety of things to really become somebody who is building these universes, right? And if that means that you are truly a practitioner who is doing, high magic, ceremonial magic or whatever, somebody who is manifesting, somebody who is using things like the law of attraction and so on and so forth. Or, you might be somebody that, quite literally you are building out a world. Maybe you build video games or things in VR, or you, I always like to use Tolkien as the Magician example, because we all know Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, of course, and you look at these universes and you see that they have different species, races of beings. They have languages, they have lore, they have their histories, they have, their proclivities, their nuances, all of the things. And this is somebody who is building a whole system and the things that go into that system. That is a magician. That is a world builder. Not just like, oh, I know how to make, build chairs real well. No. This is somebody who can build the whole universe, okay? So we have a place in your life here where you're getting into a mode of building, okay? And not only building, making sure that things flow in the way that you need them to, the energies of your life. All right, here we go. We're going to turn this thing, and you can hear I'm still kind of sick. It is the first day of October. That is October 1st while I'm doing this reading. And it will come out on the 2nd. October 2nd. Okay. And I want to say thank you for clicking on the reading. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. I'm really interested in, I'm always studying new things. I've been really into quantum fields lately and quantum theory in general. I am nowhere near learned enough to really understand any of it, especially the math. But it's something I'm interested in. I've been reading and watching videos about. But I'm always super nosy. You can tell me your gossip, But what I really want to know is like, what are you fixated on lately? Like, what are you studying? What is pulling your attention? If you want to share with us, put it in the comment section. And if you have a prayer request, definitely you can put that in the comment section as well. Or you can email me at ulaishere@gmail.com. Okay, so we're going to start with the 6 here. We also have a bird that is perched upon the 6, okay? So this leads me to believe that there will be a series of 6 symbols, pattern, synchronicities, messages coming through. We have the Mercury energy and the Magician here. So this really is like, you know, the god of communication, of messages, and so on. So it does feel like this is going to be something that is more otherworldly, maybe super, like within the superstitious field, or supernatural. That's what I was going to say. Not superstitious, supernatural. You know, so it could be you are having some kind of poltergeist activity in the home, or visions, dreams, visitations, that kind of thing. 6 of them. Okay, so please keep in mind for when this reading's over, or if you can get up and go get it now, go find a pad of paper or a piece of paper, or, you know, you could put it on your phone in the notes. I want us to get towards more analog writing. I think it's something that's really important for the brain to process information, to write things out. It makes you spend more time in your thoughts as well. So if you can, and if you are willing, get a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen, and I want you to start keeping note of any kind of thing that shows up in your life that you have noticed. Like for me right now, one that's super resonating is the number 7. Off the charts, number 7. Okay. So you tell me, what is it that is showing up in your life repeatedly? A word, a sound, a sensation, a color, whatever it is. Just start writing that stuff down, because it might not seem like there is a pattern emerging because you're experiencing these things in the now. But if you write it down later on, you can go back and kind of see, like, where are things that maybe fit together that I didn't notice, or, you know, it didn't feel like this thing was repeating because it was like spread out. But if you write it down and look at it, you're like, oh yeah, like I kept, you know, for all of fall or spring, I kept seeing this kind of bird, or I kept hearing the same song or the same word people were using, or whatever. And that's always good to have that information. I have like boxes of journals, just lists of like stuff. I'm like, what is it? I have to write a little note for context usually. But yeah, worth it. Absolutely. I've looked back on like periods of my life and saw things that like I didn't even notice were going on at all. Okay, so we have, it looks like 3 people coming together, and it looks like maybe going to visit a family member who is in this very kind of confident, meditative, grounded, centered energy. I mean, and immediately, I don't know if this is your mother or an older sister or somebody who is a feminine person, or they exude feminine energy. They don't have to be a woman. But I almost feel like later in life, they were either widowed or maybe divorced, separated, divorced, but living by themselves for maybe the first time in their whole life, right? They got married young and immediately were living with somebody after they were living with their family, and stayed in that way for many years. And now having their own space and not really having to consider other people all the time, right? You get out of the we of things. I feel like has had this like just kind of rebirth, right? Becoming somebody unrecognizable, but in a way that's like the ultimate glow up. Now, I'm not saying that this mother figure had a bad marriage or relationship, but it does feel to me like they spent a lot of time compromising and maybe even like making themselves smaller, hiding who they are, this kind of thing. So Pisces, I feel that when you go for this visit, it is going to be one that is kind of surprising, I think, because you're really like confronted with this new energy, this new person. And I don't think that that's a bad thing, but I also feel like it's, it kind of not puts you off, but it stops you in your tracks because it's like you walk in the front door and you're like, am I in the right house? The decor maybe is a little different, the energy is a little different, and this person, appears and maybe is dressed differently, has like, a glow to them. Their skin looks beautiful and happy and hydrated and all the things. And I feel like for you, there's just such a sense of a full heart and being so happy to see somebody that you love and care about flourishing. Absolutely flourishing after what I assume was probably a very difficult time. Okay, so we also have a person here, we have a person here, and we have a person here. It looks like there's maybe some calling to do some like yard work or maybe like home repair. And I do think this will be for this mother figure, this auntie or sister. Now, I do feel that there is a sense of having rebuilt something core to their life. I feel like it's the yard. I keep thinking, is this the house? Like, did they remodel, or maybe they bought a new house, or, or a new to them kind of house, fixer-upper. I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like it's the yard. I almost wonder if they, like, never got to garden, or maybe their significant other, and I would imagine this is like a father figure to you, maybe they didn't like the same kind of flowers or didn't want to have to upkeep a garden or whatever, and now this is the time, right? This is the time. And so, you might say, well, I'm in North America, Lenore, and we're getting into winter and fall. Well, here it's almost 90 degrees, so my garden's still going. But pretty soon, we will be getting ready for the winter. And that does consist of tilling and putting in fertilizer and all of that, and getting the flower beds packed down with leaves and all this kind of thing. And so maybe this is the kind of work, maybe you are in the southern hemisphere and you are working on getting the garden cleaned up or put in or what have you. But I do feel that this will be some kind of project that brings you together with the other two people, maybe siblings, maybe a spouse and one of your siblings, or, something like this. But I do feel like there's a sense of camaraderie. There is a sense of, feeling less stress. I think that maybe you grew up in a household where, maybe there was a lot of quiet or a lot of passive aggressive kind of communication. And I think that at times it was hard for you to want to go home. Not because you didn't love your parents or anything, but because it just never felt like everything was just put out there, and there's always like this feeling of like you walk into a room and it's like, did something just happen? Like, is something wrong? I feel like this when my husband is with my daughter, and they're doing whatever. I was almost going to say watching her, but he's not watching her. He's her dad. They're hanging out. He's dadding. He's being a dad, right? I always laugh when people say, oh, my husband's babysitting the kids. Like, what? I mean, I get it, but what? But yeah, sometimes they'll be out doing their thing and I'm doing my thing. I'm working or, doing chores and stuff. And I come back in the room and you can just tell something has happened. Like, what's happened? Is somebody in trouble? Did somebody do something, And that's kind of the energy, right? You walk in, it feels like something is unsaid. There's some kind of, pent up, static kind of energy. But now it feels like this is dispersed. And when you go home, it feels like you're going home. Like things are okay. You don't have to worry about like some huge, drama or ordeal, or even worse, nobody talking to each other, right? Just sitting silently in a silent house in like a state of resent, that is all gone. It just feels like it is gone. And I think it's such a relief, and it allows for you to have deeper connections, And that's just what it is. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to talk bad about anybody or their marriage or, the way that you were raised or anything. But, sometimes the dynamic just be like that. Okay, we have the number 51 down here, 5-1. And it almost looks like we have the egg, but within the egg, it's kind of like a cave where we see a person right here. We also have a bird right here. We have, it looks like the number 188, 188, but it's also a phallic symbol right here, which is fertility. Okay. We have the cave, what just fell? Oh, the egg. Oh no, not my steg. Oh dear. Oh goodness, dearie dear. I'm sitting cross-legged and I'm gonna have to pick it up with my toes. I can pick anything up with my toes pretty much. My daughter, I'm trying to teach her how to use her little monkey feet like me. We also have, oh, look at that, a rooster. So an alarm. Okay. So I don't ever like to talk about there might be a baby on the way, but it feels like in the family it's growing. There's a sense of maybe somebody really like working hard to get pregnant, doing all the things that there are available out there now, which is no easy feat. I'm 40 years old now, and so as you can imagine, I know plenty of, women in my age group, and this is around the age where you start to see a lot more people getting treatments and things. And so, I don't think it's talked about enough how involved and emotional and difficult and worth it, definitely, but it is a hero's journey. If you have any reason at all that you have to like work harder to get pregnant, it is a hero's journey. These women, these wonderful women, especially the ones I've known in my life, like that have gone on this journey, it is one of devotion, right? It really, truly is. It is one that you have to be devoted to, and I have the greatest respect. So I do kind of feel that this is an energy of somebody who has been wanting a child and maybe has not been able to, get to that place. And whatever that looks like, if they're having a pregnancy, or adopting, or fostering, or whatever it might be, maybe even becoming a step parent. But I do feel like this is going to really be the focus of this next year. I feel like you're going to be, if it's not you that is becoming, pregnant, or having either a new child or the first child come into your life, it might be a grandparent. It could be that this is a friend, or, something like this. But I think that you are going to be heavily involved. Absolutely. We also have the letters repeating S, S, T, S, 0, or maybe it's 5, 55, T, 50. But S's over and over. S, S, S. So maybe there's somebody with an S name. Now, the other thing that we have over here is the Hermit. Okay, so you can see this would be the head, and here's the kind of body and a staff right here. So I do feel in this next period of time, as things are changing, and changing drastically, I mean, the dynamic is really quite different than it has been in the family. And maybe this is the beginning of a new cycle of children within the family. You know how that kind of happens with some groupings of people, where there will be some years where there's only 1 or 2 kids that are born, and then you go through a period of time where there's 5, 10, 15 grandkids, or cousins and stuff being born. So I do feel like this is going to be a time where there are definitely more children showing up in the mix, but there's also a sense of you being involved, taking care of kids, and helping, and that kind of thing. But also a sense of really going into a place where, I don't know, it's almost kind of like you have it's not that you don't have any desire to be around people, but you just don't have that hunger, right? And I'm not saying you've ever been desperate, but some people just hate being alone, or they get lonely very easily. They can't tolerate it. We're social creatures. We're supposed to be around each other. But I think at times for you, it's just you rather be alone, not because you're upset or anything's wrong, but you just like to do things by yourself. And I think this is very much it's emphasized when you go and visit the mother caretaker person and see how they're living, and you're like, oh, shoot. Okay, so we have 3 people. One is pointing. We have 2 peacocks, one up here, one up here. Both are roosting. They don't have their peacock feathers out. So to me, it kind of almost feels like, and we have a person here. Here's the head and the body with their hands kind of up by their chest, and they're looking flower, butterfly. And then we have what looks like maybe a tadpole, or the masculine dews. I don't know what to say. That sounds so gross. I'm sorry I said that. It's not gross, but I don't like. It's like moist. Saying moist, I don't like that word either. We have a J as well. So I do feel like there is a sense of really losing the desire to to show off, to like show out, to be seen. And there's a sense of really going inward and doing the work in those places where there is a lot of self-evolution. There is this kind of flourishing and flowering, blooming in your life. And I feel that it just, you can't find it externally. There's nothing that is going to fill you up in that way, besides being with yourself and following your, whatever it is that's pulling you, the magnetism, your intuition, right? And so I think that this next period of time, people might really, I don't know, be kind of annoyed with you at times when you aren't wanting to go out or, be involved in certain things, or you're not as, in the chat, the group chat. Number 19 is our first lucky number. But this is just, you go through these periods of time. 96, and I think it will be worth it because you're reimagining your life, Pisces. You're in that magician energy. You can't be around a bunch of people when you're doing that, because we take in other people's energies. When I am doing magic and I'm like in the height of an operation, absolutely I'm not hanging out or talking to anybody. I'm still working and I'm with my family. But anything beyond that, no way, because it is taking from my vital energies that I need to put into the work that is at hand, right? So, number 78. Was that the last one? Yeah, 91, 78. Okay. But yeah. I could see why, you kind of like need to go into self. Now, these are called the Cincy Child Affirmation cards, and I'm just going to flip through, stop where it feels right. And it says, I accept and love myself unconditionally. Today, I am going to work on accepting and loving myself unconditionally. What would that feel like? What would that feel like? I don't know. I bet it would be nice, even just for a moment, right? Okay, Pisces, I want to tell you I love you because I do, and thank you so much for being here with me today. If you would be so kind and support the channel just a little bit. I'm not asking for money. No. If you want to like the video, it really helps the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, think about subscribing. And also, if you want to leave a comment, definitely do that. I love hearing from you. All right, Pisces, I love you. I love you. I love you. Please take care of yourself. We'll talk soon, and good night.